Kaur, and I am from the School of Continuing Education, Azim Premji University. It is really an honor for me to be with you all on this very special day. And as I think, privileged to be interacting with people who will be setting new standards for the state of Chhattisgarh. My colleague Joy is also present.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joy, and I am been with Foundation since 8 years and working in a school leadership program in different districts. And I worked in different districts in Chhattisgarh, like in Bastar, Kanked, Dhantari, and presently I am based in Raigad, and I am leading the Institute of Azim Premji Foundation here. So we will talk further also. So that is my brief introduction. And very happy Teachers Day to all. I hope we'll have a good discussion in the next coming hours. Thank you.
Are you able to see the PPT?
Yeah, showing, madam.
So, Joy, I thought that given that it is Teachers' Day, can I request everyone else to go on mute, please? So we thought that since it is a special day, can you hear me? Joy, is it all right?
Yeah, it's clear.
All right, thank you. So we put together some important ideas around teachers to celebrate this day, really. So we would like to share these with you. So Nagarjun's quote, that teaching is the noblest profession and the rest doesn't matter. And Dr. Radhakrishnan, of course, who was, after whom this day is celebrated. True teachers are those who help us think for ourselves. Dr. Kalam, if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel there are three key societal members who can make a difference. They are the father, the mother, and the teacher. Malala Yousafzai, a young lady who is a model for the world. Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world. Yeats, an English poet. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Anatole France. The whole art of teaching is only the art of awakening the natural curiosity of young minds for the purpose of satisfying it afterwards. Albers. Good teaching is more a giving of right questions than a giving of right answers. Prensky says, our students have changed radically. Today's students are no longer the people our educational system was designed to teach. Hence the need for us to change. Sri Aurobindo, everyone has in him something divine, something his own, a chance of perfection and strength in however small a sphere. The chief aim of education should be to help the growing soul to draw out that in itself which is best and make it perfect for a noble use. Rabindranath Tagore, the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Mahatma Gandhi. Literacy in itself is no education. Literacy is not the end of education or even the beginning. By education, I mean an all round drawing out of the best in the child and man, body, mind, and spirit. So, best wishes to all teachers. Over to you, Joy.
Yeah, I have just seen a video which Brajesh Pandey sir shared. I think some of you have seen that. It is an video of his school. So in that also there is a one statement of Radha Krishna, Sarvapalli Radha Krishna. So I thought I should mention that also. When we think we know, we cease to learn. So I think this is also a very significant line in our life. So as today is the Teachers' Day, so before we start our topic, which is institutional leadership, so can we have 5 minutes, spare 5 minutes of anyone you can share your any incident of your life journey when you felt that I have been proud to be a teacher. I felt proud to be a teacher. Any small incident of your life. So the whole people here present here will very happy to know. So anyone you can share. Any life incident, any case, any situation when you felt that कि मुझे गर्व है कि मैं शिक्षक हूं. So I think all people are thinking because there are many of experiences I'm sure you people have in your life. But as today is an auspicious occasion, so I am very keen, and most of the people are very keen to listen. If there is any incident within 2 minutes, we can give 2 to 5 minutes in which you can share that you feel that I am being a teacher, I am feeling proud for that. Any one of you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, please.
I am proud of being a teacher because I am a tool to change, bring in society, to bring change in society, and I perform my duty very well, and I transfer knowledge to students, which will make them a good citizen who will be the law followers, and I'm performing my duty very well as a teacher, as an administrator, and as academician. I feel proud that I am one of them who want to bring change in the society. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir. Inspiring, and of course, what you have shared is it's already a very important part of and role of institutional leader. So thanks a lot for sharing, sir. Anyone more? One more. We will take any one person, and then we will go to the session. Why I am asking that because I know Chhattisgarh itself is a place is very challenging, and if you see the Bastar region, it is very different, and urban location it is very different. So each one you are I think the best 40 people who are identified and for this visionary to lead these visionary institutions. So you already have lots of quality and skills, because you are playing an important role of leading these institutions. So your life experience is very crucial and very important for us also to know, so that we can also propagate and share with others also. So anyone you can share 2-3 minutes, then we can move to the next session.
Hello,
Yeah, sir, please.
sir. If I have to point out when I feel proud of being teacher, it's little bit difficult. Most of the time when I find my children doing anything better, when they perform well, when they score well, I feel proud. Uh, but overall, if I'll say, every day when I come out of the class, now I'm working as a principal, but before this, I was working as a lecturer. So after each and every class, when I come out of the class, when I felt they learned something, it's a different kind of satisfaction, and I feel proud just after coming out of the class. So it's an everyday process. I can't point out when I felt proud. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks, sir. Very right. Very right. I think you are very correct on this. Very right. So now we will move to our sessions, and if we will get time in between, we are also happy to listen more experiences. So our next session is on institutional leadership. So Nimrat, can you please go ahead?
Yeah, thank you, Joy. I was just concerned that since there are some of us also who are not participants, so I was wondering, there are only about 15, not even 15, 17, out of which 3 or 4 of us are anchors, etc. So there were just about 13, 14 participants right now. So do we wait or should we proceed? I think we should proceed, right? Because,
Please continue, proceed.
right, thank you. So, as Joy already shared, this session is about institutional leadership. In this session, we will try and explore the meaning of institutional leadership and also try and place it in a framework informed by our own work. As I understand, you all will be principals of schools of excellence, which will set standards for the entire state. A very, very important job. And I think some of you have already been principals and some of you will be taking over now. But in a sense, I think everyone has been a leader in their own space. And as a teacher, as a part of the school, as a part of the larger ecosystem of education, as an academic, so we will use that context to explore the idea of institutional leadership a little further. I will request you to please pitch in whenever. Joy and I are sharing our understanding, and we would be very happy to have it enhanced by your experiences. And request you also to respond to questions, etc., as we proceed, which will make things a little more interactive and interesting for all of us. So, first of all, the basic question: why are some schools more effective than others? So we start with a question: why are some schools more effective than others? If anyone would like to share their views?
I am from Bilaspur.
Ji, sir.
R.K. Gupta, I am from Bilaspur.
Sir.
Some institutions are very effective because they perform their job of giving knowledge to students, and they uses all the best practices to develop the personality of the child.
Right.
Because of their discipline and because of their um, giving knowledge and because of their vision, the school becomes very effective because they have some future plans what to do for the development of the child.
Right, sir. Thank you very much.
There may
Thank
be
you.
others so many reasons, but I think these are the very important points.
Absolutely
Thank you.
right, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Anyone else? So I will proceed. Gupta sir said something very, very important. My for me, the most important takeaway is what he said about the vision and also about the best practices and performing the job. But if we, sorry, look at all kinds of studies, if we look at literature on schools and how schools, on school effectiveness, then whether these are large studies taking in a lot of schools and quantitatively analyzing the results, or whether they are in-depth qualitative studies like case studies, or whether they are schools, alternative schools, which are doing something different and having different results. All these studies show us that the most important factor, of course, is teaching, but the second is school leadership. So when Sir talks about having a vision, that would be a function of the school leadership. When he talks about the best practices and identifying the job that has to be performed and how it has to be done, he's talking about school leadership. So that is how important school leadership is, something that we already know, which is why you all have been nominated to head these schools. But still, it is not something that is intuitive. Research has shown that school leadership is the second most important factor in ensuring school effectiveness. So the next question is, what do we mean by leadership? What is the meaning of leadership? If anyone would like to attempt this question. Let me proceed. So leadership is, it could be a role. It could be a role which is intended to give direction to everything that happens in the school. But leadership could also be the capability, the ability to give direction to something that needs to be done. It is setting the pace. By setting the pace, we mean identifying what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, what are the timelines, what are the goals, how will they be achieved. To set this pace and then to be able to take everyone, all members of the school and all other stakeholders, take all their inputs in reaching this goal in a best manner. So, to optimize everyone's efforts to reach this goal. So, leadership is not just a role; it is also the capability to give direction to reach the goals. It is identifying the goals, creating the vision that Sir referred to, and then making sure that everyone's efforts are optimized towards reaching these objectives. But then I ask you that education is a process of engaging minds. We are dealing with minds. This is not a factory setting where you set goals, or it is not administrative workshop.
We can't listen you, madam, due to poor quality, sound quality. Hello?
Sorry. Yes? Hello?
Can't
Yes?
listen you properly.
Oh,
Hello?
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Let me try again. Is this better? Better now, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, better? Yeah. So what I was saying was that leadership is not simply a role that someone is given. It is also the capability of taking everyone along towards a set goal, set vision in the most optimal manner. But then when we talk about education, education is not like a factory or an administrative project where the goals are set and certain and it is easy to move towards them. This is a process of engaging learners. And we say that each learner is different, which means that can one approach work in all situations? No, naturally not. And also, it is important to understand what influences educational processes. So, if we look at the education system, the school is situated in a web. There are many influences on the school. There is the policy perspective that comes from the education department and SCERT. Am I clear now? Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the directives that come from education department, or there is some program or any initiative that comes from SCERT. Besides that, at the district level, at the block level, at the cluster level, there are various educational structures which influence the school. These are the formal structures. Besides these, there are some informal structures like the relationship with the community. Could I request everyone else to go on mute, please? So, like I said, there are these formal, obvious structures, administrative structures, academic structures, which influence the school. But at the same time, there are some informal structures like relationship with the community, relationship with the parents, relationship with the learners themselves. All these things also influence educational processes. So that means that leadership of an educational institution, leadership of a school is involves not only the ability to take everyone along towards an identified goal, it is also managing all these interrelationships and linkages, because these very importantly impact the educational process. So the school is at the center of this web, but the school is also influenced by this web and also in turn influences it. So that is something that we need to keep in mind. So we come back to the question that now that we've established the context of the school has been influenced by various administrative and educational structures, and also by certain informal relationships which are not very obvious but which impact the school very deeply, like the community, like the context of the learners, like the interaction with the parents, like the school culture itself. So then we come back to the question of what is institutional leadership. So institutional leadership now, sorry, just give me a minute. Yeah. Yes. So institutional leadership is it that if there are so many people involved, if there are so many influences on the school, so then is institutional leadership something that only one person is responsible for? Or is it something that at various times could be taken up by different members? For example, if we talk about the school itself, we have the school principal, the principals that you are the head of the school. But at the same time, the teachers are entirely responsible for their classrooms. If you have student committees, then those student committees are responsible for their work. If you have committees within the school, then they are responsible for whatever you set them for. Someone is responsible for the midday meal, someone is responsible for collating assessment results and evaluating them for further inputs. So, in this sense, institutional leadership cannot be seen as being resting in only one person, being vested in one person only. So, institutional leadership could be distributed. Members share the relationship depending on the task or the occasion. If it is the school assembly and the students are organizing it, then they are leading that entire process. If you're talking about the classroom, then the teacher is leading that classroom. So that means that within the institution, there has to be collaboration. We talked about relationships within the school, outside the school. There has to be collaboration and there have to be relationships. As a head, it is your responsibility that textbooks reach the children. But for that, you have to collaborate with a specific department of the state to ensure that they reach on time. So, in this way, across the system, leadership gets distributed. So, it is a shared responsibility. So, a school can be effective when a larger group of people work together towards the effectiveness of this process. And it is a commitment to ensure, like Sir shared earlier, that he cannot identify one particular point in time when he felt proud to be a teacher, but he felt proud every time he left a classroom. Similarly, as a school head, someone said that when the children do well, when they score well, he feels very proud. So it is a commitment from all members, very strong commitment to ensure that the welfare of the students is paramount and the teachers are helped in moving towards achieving this goal, which is shared by everyone, by the entire education system. Any questions or comments? Joy, if anything you would like to add?
Yeah, nothing. If anyone want to say something, then we can spare some time
Right. I can wait for 3
on
minutes.
previous slide. Because what the web you have shown from the beginning of this training, I am part of this group and I am regularly seeing that all the principals are engaged with these institutions. Because in the first opening meeting, I remember when the PS sir and the directors had shared, this is an institution you are leading, so you have to create a vision, you have to see how we are going to achieve the objective of these institutions and how these stakeholders will help you to achieve that vision. And from there are a lot of challenges are coming. Many times all the principals are sharing that key parents are coming, then admission, then recruiting teachers and all everything. So they are already playing a vital role of a leader in these institutions and engaging with all the stakeholders. So, and the same thing what we are talking about, which is already demonstrating in your institution at present also. So, if anyone want to say or add something which will help to enrich the discussion, so please go ahead.
We also have to remember this is a very rare platform where we will all come together to speak about certain things. So if there's something that you feel, like Joy said, can enrich the session, please do add. Or if you can illustrate something you agree with, or if there's any disagreement, we can discuss. So we will be coming back to this where maybe then if someone has something to add, they can do so. I will proceed to the next slide. So with this context, if we try and understand institutional leadership, Now, this is, like it says, illustrative. These are examples. These are some things that leaders do. It is possible that you're doing much more. And please add if there's something important that is missing here, or this is in a way more than you're required to do, which is also fine. So the first thing, the first example that we have is about managing change. And as leaders of the schools of excellence, you are the managers of this change, which is so important for the state. So institutional leaders manage change. They build consensus. We talked about distributed leadership amongst all the stakeholders. It is obvious that some people might have different opinions, different views. So, as the leader, you have to make sure that all these different views come together and there is collaboration, because the vision that you've set, which you would have set collaboratively or which has been set by the state, that has to be met. So therefore this becomes very, very important. And as we also said, that the leader has to optimize the energies of everyone who is involved in this process. That will happen only when there is collaboration. Then of course you're responsible, like someone said in the beginning only, that for the development of your students and also of your teachers, the teachers in your school, you're also responsible for them. You're also responsible to collaboratively with teachers, with other stakeholders, to set academic standards. What is the kind of learning that should happen in the school? What is the kind of school environment there should be? What is the kind of classroom environment there should be? What are the basic infrastructure standards that are important? So it is your responsibility not only to set these standards, but also to maintain them. If necessary, reaching out to the larger ecosystem that the school is operating in, and reaching out to other offices, other departments, and ensuring that these things are met in your school, or at least, if not met, it is in their knowledge, in their awareness, so that they can address it at the earliest, whatever is not in your control. But there are many things that will be in your control, like the classroom environment, the school environment, opportunities for students to participate in school processes, for the teachers to engage in professional development activities to improve their academic knowledge. So, all these things are within your reach. It is also your responsibility to ensure that all stakeholders know and also are able to support the implementation of the programs. For example, the schools of excellence. So, everyone in the community, the teachers, the learners, parents, they should be aware of the purpose of these schools, and so that they should be able to understand and also support wherever possible for you to meet your goals. And of course, teacher performance appraisal would be part of your profile, but also to help teachers, support teachers in identifying their strengths, the areas of support, through talking to them, through doing classroom observation, through other modes, means, whatever, holding staff meetings. So these are the things that you have to do amongst your other responsibilities. And while doing so, you have to do something which is very, very delicate. You have to balance between two extremes. One would be giving direction, which is, of course, your primary job, and the other also allowing your teachers um, autonomy in taking certain academic decisions related to curriculum and pedagogy assessment. So you would have to strike a balance between these two. You would have to strike a balance between monitoring what is going on in the school versus supporting the whole process. So instead of an inspectorial point of view, you would have to look at all the processes, all the persons in your school from the view of identifying strength areas, areas for improvement, and helping them support. Not only you're not going to be the only person to support, but also support each other in getting better. So you would also have to balance between structures. It is very important to have very rigid structures. It is very convenient to have these rigid structures versus creating a culture. So having structures and procedures related to, say, timings, school processes, meetings, etc., which are driven by you, versus creating a shared culture which is oriented towards helping students do the best that they can. So this culture becomes a very important part of how institutional leadership is viewed these days. If anyone would like to add, Joy or anyone, or I'll proceed to the next slide where we will discuss a little more about the school culture.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the school culture is basically, it refers to the way teachers, non-teaching staff, the head, etc., everyone, they work together, and the way they work together is set on a certain beliefs, values, and assumptions. The belief that, for example, all children can learn would create a certain kind of culture. The value of commitment, integrity, sincerity, the belief that collaboration is important, the assumption that if we work in this manner, then students will be benefited. So that refers to the school culture. So all members of the school are part of the school culture. And why culture becomes important is that tomorrow you may leave the school, you may go to some other school, some other head may come, some teachers may come and go, but when a school culture exists, it becomes very difficult to change it for some time at least. So if you set a good school culture, then this will persist for a long time, and it will take a huge effort from someone else to change it in any way. So I just to make this more explicit, and also because to kind of make concrete all the things that we've been talking about. The few things to summarize quickly, we talked about leadership being a role as well as the capability of taking everyone together towards a shared goal. We talked about distributed leadership, where responsibility for the success of the school rests not only with the school head, but also everyone within the school and also outside the school. So it becomes important for the principal to ensure that these relationships are maintained, and this distributed leadership is synchronized in a way so that the purpose of the school is met. And we talked about the school culture being important. So let's see some elements of school culture. Again, these are examples. It is not necessary that these are the only elements. There could be others, or there could be different elements from what the ones that I am going to share. So if we begin with the relationship between principals and teachers. So principals provide visible ongoing support for new school programs and ideas. Anything new that comes, the principal has to show the enthusiasm, the commitment, the willingness to try something new. That will set the tone. Like we talked about setting the pace, that will set the tone for the rest of the school to follow. The next is principals are sympathetic with problems and difficulties encountered by teachers in their work. So this is part of what we discussed, that the principal has to support, has to be supportive, has to help teachers in identifying the areas of improvement, and be sympathetic towards these problems and difficulties, to be understanding. Then the principals will work to ensure the cooperation of teachers. this again we discussed that if we have to move towards a common goal, there is a possibility that all stakeholders might not have the same view. So therefore, it is the work of the principal to synchronize these efforts and take them all together. Principals visibly encourage teachers to be the best that they can in the classroom. I think Ronita had sessions with you yesterday, day before. I attended a little bit of a session yesterday, where she was talking about how principals can support teachers in the classroom. So this is basically refers to that. And of course, teachers and principals work cooperatively in developing new school programs and policies. Any small or big thing, a decision to have the students take charge of the midday meal, or the decision to have a kitchen garden for children to help children learn about plants and the environment. So anything that they plan, teachers and principals would work cooperatively towards this. And in this school culture, in the school culture which we would want, teachers receive the assistance they need from principals and colleagues to be able to help their students learn better. So we see a culture which is empathetic, which is supportive, and which is collaborative. And again, we come back to distributed leadership. Leadership roles are equally shared by teachers and principals. The school head is supported by the teachers in achieving the goals that have been set for the school, which means that the school head or can delegate or the teachers can volunteer for certain areas, and then the teachers would have complete responsibility for ensuring that these are successful so that the principal can concentrate on the uh, larger goals, the larger issues and larger work areas of the school. So again, this is possible only if there's an empathetic, supportive environment and the belief that the child's interests are absolutely paramount. So this kind of a school culture will help towards moving forward. About teachers now, the principal can also help create an environment in which teachers help each other. They professionally share their experiences in the classroom, whatever successes they've had, whatever challenges they have had, they discuss with each other. They give each other suggestions on ways to improve teaching learning. Maybe they observe each other's classrooms and then give suggestions on how to improve. Teachers spend time focusing, discussing how to improve the school. So they're motivated by the head to also contribute to how the school can be improved. And they do this out of their own interest. They share their problems with each other. Whatever problems they are facing, those are shared. They plan teaching. Planning is a very important aspect. I think you all discussed that yesterday. So planning teaching learning activities, that is something that is part of the process, the school culture. Assessment data is used to improve the teaching learning processes. And teachers also reflect about their own work. So these are some important things that I wanted to share. I have two more slides on school culture, but I will take a pause if anyone would like to add anything. Because here we've talked about the school culture um, uh, in which the principal and the teachers within themselves have these very strong collaborative professional working relationships. Later on, the other slides are more pertaining to teachers and learners. So I will stop here if anyone would like to share their own experiences or their observations. I hope I'm not going too fast, and I hope I'm audible also. If there's anything you would like me to change, I would be very happy to do that as well. So let me proceed. I hope there will be more inputs later. Now about teachers and learners. In this school culture, which we would like ideally for our schools to have, all students are treated equally well. There is this belief that all students can learn, all students are equally important. All students are treated with respect by the adults in the school. So the teachers, the non-academic staff, everyone treats the students with respect. Teachers understand their students, they understand their problems, they know their students. And teachers are also available whenever the students need to talk with them, whether it is about academic issues, whether it is about some other issue. So teachers are always available. And more importantly, it is easy for students to be able to talk to the teachers. So the teachers make it very clear to the students that they can come and speak to them anytime that they would like. So that becomes a very important part of this culture. And students believe genuinely, their teachers genuinely care for them. So it is not as if the teacher is doing the duty, that is, the teachers actually value the children. And if a student is missing, then it is certain that someone will notice the absence. Sometimes it happens that students are absent and no one follows up on them. So, in this culture, if a student is absent, then some adult will notice the absence and reach out to them. Next, students like and respect each other. In this culture where they see the adults treating each other with respect and supporting each other, in which they see their teachers supporting themselves, the students also respect and like each other. They regularly participate in any kind of activities offered through the school. These could be any kind of activities which help the processes of the school, or they could be any other kind of activities. So students participate in these. And students also participate in decisions like what kind of class activities should be there, what kind of rules should be there for the class. If someone comes late to class, what should be the rule? If someone is disturbing the class, what should be the rule? What kind of activities should happen in the class? So students should have the chance to contribute to this. They should, when we talk about collaboration not only amongst the teachers and the principal, but also collaboration amongst the students and the teachers. And students also get a lot of chance to participate in class discussions, activities. Classrooms are very interactive and students are fully participating in the classroom. They talk about the importance of their own feelings and the feelings of others. They have this sensitivity towards the feelings of people, and this will be possible only in a school culture which encourages this kind of sharing. And of course, this kind of sharing will lead toward an empathetic school culture. And students work on listening to others to understand what they are trying to say. This is again a reflection of how the teachers are behaving with them. So students would also behave similarly. I will take a pause again if anyone would like to add anything or say anything. Or Joy, if there's anything you'd like to say. While you're gathering your thoughts, I do want you all to contribute. When we talk about, I just want to reiterate that when we talk about distributed leadership, then here everyone becomes responsible for the success of the school because there is a shared ownership, there is a collaboration, and there is a feeling of that this is my responsibility too, this is my work too. So, this is what we mean when we talk about a school culture being important in leading to success. I will wait for 2 minutes. I'm sure you have a lot of experiences and a lot of views. So, Joy and I would be very happy to have them shared here. So I will proceed. The school environment is another factor that is important in the school culture. The school has to be clean, it has to be hygienic. Children should want to come to school because it is attractive, it is clean. And students should also be proud of how the school looks. Teachers should be proud of the school, the classroom environment, and anything, maintenance, etc., should happen quickly. It should be valued that the school's environment, both physical and social, is very, very important. And of course, school rules should be applied to all. Whatever applies to children should also apply to adults. If we expect students not to disturb classes, then we have to demonstrate that we will also speak softly when we are moving around. Teachers also need to do that. So, anything anyone would like to add, or any questions or observations?
So, in the first discussion, I am sharing about Brajesh sir schools. I have seen that video, sir. So, it's also showing a culture of your. So, it will be good if you can share a brief on that. Because in that video, there is a team of 10, 15 people, the teachers, you introduce them. Then the school activities like plantation and all you are doing. Then parents are also participating with children's, and also some cultural program during lockdown, how you are managing. So that is also a part of school culture. So if you want to share something, sir, it will be very nice. Rajesh sir.
Sir, we tried our best to include all the parents as well as students. And before that, we planned to distribute 2 food-bearing plants to each and every student through their guardians. They all collected from the nursery, and they did the plantation work also. At the same time, it was a parent-teacher meeting. What are the problems we are facing during online classes? That is regarding discipline and the homework, what our students are doing. So these were some points we wanted to utilize this day as parent-teacher meet as well as plantation. At the same time, just worshipping students. We have asked students to just post few photographs regarding their how they can respect their parents, because at this pandemic time they are only the real gurus who are helping them to learn the lessons and do their homework. Some of these ideas came in our mind, and we tried to just add to our program.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. And also, that video is showing the team also, your team. So, what we are talking about this distributed leadership. So, I think recognizing our team and giving them a space, that is also a very important quality of a leader. Thanks a lot, sir.
Sir, this is the program of class 8th only, and still the video of other classes are going to be compiled. And
Okay.
very soon our school program will be in YouTube. I will send the link in the group itself. Thanks a lot, sir. Best wishes to all my principals and all teachers. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir. Nimrat, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Joy. So I will proceed. I wish we could have shared the video, but I don't think that's possible now. But it'll be on the group, you said, Joy. I will request you to share with me also. So now moving on, now that we've set the context, let's attempt definition of institutional leadership. So if we say that institutional leadership is the work that educational professionals do in so as to change their own and others, each other's educational practice for the better, that would be, I think, a summary of what we've been discussing. So whatever school heads, teachers, whatever, and other people in the system, other stakeholders, education functionaries, etc., whatever they do to change their own and the educational practice of each other for the better would be institutional leadership. And what we have brought in with the school culture and the fact that relationships are very, very important in leadership. So it is also a social influencing process. So you influence each other to change your practice also, but you also influence each other while creating a culture of working together. And sometimes it is not always the school head who has to exert this influence, but others would also have to respond. And in this way, this ends up creating relationships which will lead to the desirable outcomes. So it is institutional leadership is a social process wherein we help each other to improve our own work in a better fashion through the use of creating a collaborative, sharing, valuing culture. So again, to summarize, institutional leadership is usually associated with a formal organizational position. But there are other informal leaders also, and a teacher who knows mathematics very well would obviously have to be the leader in the school, an informal leader who would decide how mathematics is to be taught. If there is a cultural program to be organized, then the teacher who is an expert in that area will be the leader of that process. So in this way, the school head uses these informal leaders as well so as to take the school forward to its purposes. So what becomes important then is to look at leadership not as a role in itself, but also as a process, as something that is going on all the time, where you're constantly influencing others, you're constantly helping them to do better, you're taking inputs from them as well to improve yourself. So it becomes a process, a continuous process, rather than just a position of authority. So it's a dynamic process with the intent to create a culture where everyone can collaborate and contribute equally to the success of the school and share your responsibilities in meeting the goals. So, in this perspective, in this view, the individual who is part of this system is also doing various things across multiple roles and individuals. There are these leadership activities are distributed. The school head is doing various things, the teachers are also helping. So in a way, this distributed leadership leads to the culture of learning and growth within the school. I hope if anyone would like to add anything at this point. So let us now go a little deeper into, like I said, with this framework. Let us go into what institutional leaders should know and be able to do. So for this, what we have decided is that we will read a case study together. We'll read 2 case studies and discuss certain aspects of this, and then how the leader can help in the process. And let me assure you that we need your participation, because we will not be able to take this any further if you all don't participate. So I will request you all to please participate. So I will stop sharing the video, this PPT, sorry, and I will just go on to the. So can I request someone to read? Would I please have a volunteer to read? This is just about a page and a half, I think. So I will request someone to please volunteer to read it.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
May I?
Please, ma'am.
Yes.
Please. Thank you.
Trip to a school. It was 8 o'clock in the morning when the school bell rang. The students and teachers brought out brooms and together began cleaning the ground and their classrooms. Then they gathered in the ground and then began their morning assembly, where they had the school prayer, sang 2 patriotic songs followed by the national anthem. The students then entered their classroom for the first period. Each class had approximately 30 students. I entered one of the classes. The boys and girls were seated alternatively in a big circle. The teacher was teaching the students about the bones in the human body with the help of a model of a skeleton. The teacher was asking questions related to the topic and the students were answering them enthusiastically. Sitting in the circle was a student with a hearing problem and another with vision only in one eye. The teacher made sure that these students were included actively in the lesson by bringing the model close to them and involving them in the discussions. He encouraged the students of the class by going up to the students while they were questioning and answering. Every time a student answered correctly, he would appreciate her by saying good or correct or encouragingly saying try again for an incorrect response. The walls of the classroom had a number of charts hanging from them. I noticed the class timetable, a chart on good habits and other subjects related ones. I could see that the students had made the charts as their names were written on them. Worksheets done by the students were also displayed on a string across the room. I saw a teacher diary on the teacher's table, and with the permission of the teacher flipped through it, I could see that the lesson planning was done on a weekly basis. I looked for the skeleton lesson and found the same. I found that the teacher had written the details of his lesson, the TLM to be used, and some homework questions. He had also recorded the marks of some small tests he had conducted and the students who needed extra help. He made a mention of the dates for remedial classes for these children. The teacher then recognized the students into groups, the teacher then reorganized the students into groups and gave them a crossword to complete. He was assisting one group when suddenly 3 students ran to the window. I saw a few students peeping into the classroom from a window. The window pane had been broken and there was glass jutting from the corners. I was so afraid that the students may get hurt. The teacher noticed the disturbance and asked the students to get back into their groups. The bell rang and I went out. I decided to walk around the campus. With no boundary wall, I could see people working in the fields that surrounded the school. It was the pea picking season, and I could see many children working alongside their parents in the fields. I had noticed on the attendance board when I entered the school that the attendance was very low. I now understood why. Picking peas was very important because it meant additional income for the family. I saw that there was only one toilet in school and that it was locked. I inquired why and was told that it was very dirty as there was no water in the toilet. The midday meal was being prepared by the Bhojan Mata. She had a bad cold and cough and was continuously sneezing while cooking. She was making khichdi for the students. She told me that the head teacher was ordering better quality of rice as compared to the present installment. Suddenly there was a big sound and a lot of smoke. All the students ran out of the classrooms in the direction of the noise. Finally, everyone realized that some students had burst crackers behind the toilet. The teachers tried to find out the culprits but were not able to. When the commotion died down, a teacher was seen going from class to class collecting some students. Some of uh, some of the students were not happy to leave the lessons, and the teacher was busy explaining that extra classes would be held for what they missed out. All the students then congregated and were seen practicing for a dance they wanted to put up for the prize distribution day, which was a week away. It was time for the midday meal. All the students were trying to push their way to find a place to sit. I noticed that none of the students washed their hands before eating. Once they had eaten, they washed their plate and quickly put it away in their bag. I was told that otherwise the students steal each other's plates. When the bell rang after the midday meal, I went looking for the head teacher. He was seated in one of the classes. He told me that it was the maths period, but he could not do any teaching as he had to complete some mandatory registers and send them to the CRC. He said he also needed to prepare for the teacher performance review on Saturday. The children in his class were all over the place and shouting and hitting each other. He had a cane next to him, and when the noise became unbearable, he would go and hit some children with it. I then saw a class sitting in the sun with a teacher. The students were seated in rows. The teacher was trying to teach multiplication, but I could see there was no blackboard. She had given them some sums to do, but the students at the back were scribbling one each other's backs, tearing pages from books and playing with mud. The teacher was seen concentrating only on the students sitting in front. She was an elderly teacher and said she did not believe in planning her lessons in advance. After school, I decided to take a walk into the village where the students lived. The students recognized me, and one of the students invited me to his house. He introduced me to his mother. When I asked her about the school, she said that the teachers were good, but the principal did not communicate much with them. She told me that she was a member of the SMC, but she did not attend them regularly because most of the time she did not know when they were held. She said the parents were invited to the school for interactions with the teachers regularly and also for some school functions. She proudly showed me a certificate given by the school to her son for doing well in studies. I then met an elder member of the community, and he said that the school teachers visited the homes of the students who were enrolled but did not attend school on a regular basis. He said he had visited the school on the Bal Mela day and felt happy about how the students and teachers collectively worked to make it a success.
Thank you very much, madam. Joy, over to you. While Joy unmutes, basically we wanted you to think of and share with us certain ideas about the good things that are happening in the school. What are the issues in the school? So we wanted you to reflect on that and share that with us. So Joy, over to you.
Yeah, so after reading this story, Nimrat, can you display that word file?
Yeah, yes, I will just do it. Sorry. Yeah.
The table.
Oh, the table. All right. Okay. Yeah.
So we have read in case of one school. So now let's discuss what are the good things which we have observed in this school. And what do you think there are areas which needs improvement? So after this, we will read one more small case study of another school. So in this school which we have read just now. So these are the some areas which are suggested like school infrastructure, school community partnership, concern for children, student, involving parents, inclusion, learning environment, leading teachers, leading teaching learning, safety and security. What are the good things which are mentioned in this school observation? So one of you can share that. Like if we see the school infrastructure, so in the case study, is there anything good which we can say in this school, the infrastructure point of view, this thing is good? Or any areas, infrastructure which needs improvement? So we can discuss both also. Anyone can share this.
Sir, can you share the content once again? Attending?
Yeah, sure, ma'am, sure.
Just for a while,
So,
sir, just
yeah. So we can do this also. We can display this content in front of us and we can discuss in background. Nimrat will write the points and at the end we can see. Is it to be okay?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. So Nimrat, please display the case study.
Oh, you can't see it. Oh, I'm sorry. Check what is wrong. For me, it is showing, it is sharing. I will share it again.
Yeah, it's not showing.
I'll just share again. Sorry. One second. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Right, right.
So, what are the good things and what are the areas which we think school needs improvement also?
So should I summarize the case study? It's talking about a school. It starts in the morning when the school bell rings. So students and teachers bring out their brooms and they clean the grounds of the classroom. And then there is morning assembly, patriotic songs followed by the school prayer, patriotic songs, and then the national anthem. Then they enter the classroom. So the author has sat in one classroom where a teacher is teaching movements of the human body with the help of a model of a skeleton, and it is all very interactive. There is could I request everyone else to mute, please? Everyone else on mute, please. Yeah. Then in the circle, there is a student with a hearing problem and one with vision in one eye. And the teacher is trying to involve these students also in the discussion. He's trying to involve all students, going up to them and encouraging them when they answer correctly. The walls of the classroom have charts and various kinds of charts, and the children's worksheets are also displayed on a string in the room. There is a teacher diary, and with the permission of the teacher, the author has gone through the teacher's diary, and lesson planning is done on a weekly basis. And the teacher has written the details of the lesson and the curriculum and some of the questions. He's also looked at the mark of students of a test he had conducted and identified students who need extra help and mentioned the date for remedial classes. The teacher has then reorganized the students into groups and given them a crossword puzzle. During this time, three students went out of the window, and some other students are peeping in. The window pane he notices has been broken, and there is a glass jutting from corners. And the author is afraid that the students might get hurt. The teacher notices, calls them back. After the end of the period, the author goes back and walks around the campus. There is no boundary wall, and the people are working in the fields. The author had realized that attendance was poor, and then he realizes it is a pea picking season, and many children are working on the fields. So he thinks this is probably more important because this gives happy. There is only one toilet in the school, and it is locked. It is because it is very dirty, and there is no water in the toilet. MDM has been prepared by the Bhojan Mata, who has a bad cold and cough and is continuously sneezing. She's also making khichdi for the students, and the head teacher is trying. She tells the author that head teacher is trying to get better quality of rice. Suddenly, there's a lot of noise, and there are these students who have burst crackers behind the toilet. So the teachers try to find out who's done it, but they are not able to. That one teacher goes to the extra class and takes students from lessons, and the teacher tells them that the extra classes will be held to make up for the miss because the students don't want to leave their class. And then they're seen that they have been taken for practice for a dance for prize distribution day. During MTM, the children are trying to push and for a place to sit. None of them wash their hands before eating. When they have eaten, they wash their plates and then they put them away in their bag because they're afraid that someone will steal the plate. And after the MDM, the author goes and meets the head teacher. It's a maths period. He's a maths teacher, but he cannot teach because he has to complete some registers and send them to the CRC. And he also needs to prepare for the teacher performance review. Children are hitting each other, shouting. There's no one to control the class. He has a cane next to him, and he says when it becomes unbearable, he will go and hit some children with it. One class is happening outside in the sun, and teacher is trying to teach multiplication, but there is no blackboard. She's given some sums to do, but students at back are not really paying attention. The teacher is also paying attention only to students sitting in front. She is elderly, and she says she does not believe in planning her lessons. After school, the author goes out to the village where the students live, and the students recognize him and invite one of them invites him to his house. The mother talks to the author and she says that the teachers are good, but the principal does not communicate. She's a member of SMC, but she does not attend regularly because she doesn't know when the meetings are held. And parents are invited regularly to the school. and also for school functions. And she shows a certificate given by the school to her son for doing well in the studies. And later on, the author meets an elderly member of the community, and he says that the teachers come home to find out which students are not enrolled. And he said he had visited the school on Bal Mela Day, and he's very happy about how students and teachers collectively work to make the program a success. So this is, I hope this was helpful. Madam Chandra had read it out very well the first time, but I think I just would paraphrase it in case it helps. So over to you, Joy.
Yeah, now you can share what are the good things which we are looking in this school and the areas which needs improvement. So the areas which have been kept, which I have shown,
I will
school
display.
infrastructure. You can show that also.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, madam, please share. So any of the point which, yeah, sir, please tell me. Yeah, Vivek sir, you are saying something. Your voice is not clear. So the areas which it is written here, anybody can share on any point.
School infrastructure was quite good. Sir, can you hear me? Actually, there's a network problem here. Hello. Hello,
Yeah,
can you hear
Manisha
me?
ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, ma'am. Very clear.
Yes. The good thing I liked about the school was that there were so many walls.
Ma'am, your voice is not clear. Ma'am, I have to.
The lesson plan was displayed on with the strings in the classroom. The remedial teaching timetable. The remedial teaching timetable was displayed, but the toilet was locked and the students did not wash the hands before taking midday meals. This was a bad thing about the school. And there was a teacher, math teacher, who was sitting doing his own work with a cane in his hand, and often he would beat the students. That was a bad thing. Hello. Actually, sir, the network is not working.
Yeah, ma'am. I will repeat it again. You just share. No problem. So what madam shared ki it lesson plan is displayed, then result used for remedial classes, and aids used, activities, discussions are there, and regular interaction with teachers, है ना, involving parent invited to and the areas which need improvement. She shared the toilet, the condition is poor in that school. No? Out of class for official duties, what I have listened. So,
Hello.
the points Madam shared. Sir. Yes,
Hello.
please. Yes.
I think one more good thing was going on. Their assembly was very well organized,
Yeah.
and they were doing the cleaning part also together, teachers and students. But don't know why the toilet, they did not pay attention to the toilet, cleaning of the toilet. The classes they were cleaning together.
Okay. Yeah.
Another good thing was the seating arrangement of the students. The girls and boys were seated alternately in a circle. So the students would face to face interact with each other. That was seating arrangement I liked.
Yeah, this is also a very important point. Sitting in a circle is also make more interactive to the teachers. Very right. This is a good thing of this case study. Yeah, any more? There is also one important point which is there um, under the area inclusion. One good thing and area of improvement. Can anybody share that?
The disabled students they were given special attention by the teacher.
Yeah, very right, ma'am. The children with disability, they are giving them care also. That is a good thing. And the what needs improvement?
Some of the students are not disciplined.
Okay, very right. All children are not involved. We are making this.
Yeah, yeah, we can say it. Yeah.
Very right. So, Nimrat, should we do the next case? Then we can
Yes,
consolidate.
absolutely.
One more thing, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Tell me, ma'am.
SMC is not being managed properly. Like the SMC member, she was she told that she's not informed about the meeting on time.
Yeah.
Yes.
SMC is not regular. है ना?
And I think also that corporal punishment, the principal believes that that will help. That also I found disturbing.
Yeah.
Right. So many things we can bring out, but let's go on to the next. So, volunteer to read again. Manisha ma'am, up you'll read.
Yes, I want to say another unfavorable thing which I noted is that the principal of the HM she was displaying her own son's results. Means she was more focused on her own family rather than of the students of the school.
Right. Yes, absolutely, ma'am.
This is one case study, and we have tried to identify the good things in that schools and the areas which need improvement. So we will go through this another small case, and then we will consolidate and relate both the case studies and discuss about it. Okay.
Can I have a volunteer? Uh, Manisha madam, would you like to read?
Sitting out a trip to another school, sitting outside in the clean and tidy courtyard, unlike a government school with flowers and vegetable beds all looking watered and well cared for, was really a treat for the eyes. Pointing to the boundary wall, the HT said, "The school boundary that you see is only because of the efforts of the community. They even donated their land because the area we had earlier was not sufficient for the school," said the HT with pride. That spoke immensely about the community connect. The community has played a very important role in getting us where we are. We get a lot of support from the community. Every decision is raised with the consent of the community, and we ensure that they play an active role in all next next page. In all departments of the school and work as a team. The community even got our cooking area constructed so that the problems faced by us because of incremental weather condition were solved to a large extent. The SMC president, who is also the village headman, plays an active role in day-to-day functioning of the school. We make a regular contact with the community, meet the parents, discuss their ward's progress, reasons for their ward's irregularity to school. They have to feel it's their school. Rajkiya Prathamik Vidyalaya is a primary school and is reached by walking 10 kilometers off the main road down a kacha road that in the rainy season is very muddy. It was established in 1981. It caters from class 1 to class 5 and has 2 classrooms. It has 3 teachers, including the head teacher. The wall is painted and there is in large letter written next to head teacher office. It reads, to provide the best education so all peoples achieve their best. The paint is crumbling now and people hardly notice it anymore. Class 1, 2, and 3 share one classroom, and class 4 and 5 share another class. Classes 1, 2, 3 together constitute 52 pupils. The 2 assistant teachers take it in turns to teach this large group. The pupils are sitting on the mat and the room is tightly packed. Luckily, according to one of the teachers, as many as 10 to 15 pupils are absent on any one day. The teacher who is new finds that to keep order in such a large group, she has to resort to chalk and talk and make the children write something on their notebooks to engage them. Anyway, she only has 40 textbooks for the class. She once tried group work after a workshop had inspired her to do a lesson in groups. However, there was so much noise that the head teacher ordered her to make the students quiet. The head teacher and teachers make a regular contact with the community and meet the parents to discuss their wards, reasons for irregularity to school, but still there is an issue on attendance and on enrollment. According to the teachers, the parents are very casual towards education and it is not in the list of priorities. Every frivolous issue is a good enough reason for absence from school. Besides talking to the parents, the head teacher sends them information through letters and she feels that there is nothing much that they can do. The irregularity issue really sends the class academics back by a few days every time the students go on a leave. And the students who falls back in class, then it gets very difficult for them get back to the class level. Recently, a parent of a pupil of class 5 complained the head teacher that his children were not listening to him and that he wanted his children to be disciplined and punished. Parents expect teachers to use stick and views the senior teacher who never uses a stick as weak. Parents said the teacher who does not use stick in classes are noticeably noisier than others are. However, the fact is his pupils do well in exams. The head teacher is well respected in the teaching community. She keeps a tidy office. She maintains up-to-date records of income and expenditures. However, no one in the SMC is knowledgeable enough to monitor the accuracy of these records. She was keen on inspectors and others to work in her school. But in latest 3 visits, the inspectors never found her there, and of the other 2 teachers, only one was available. Children all over the campus, either watering the beds or cleaning the ground or just ensuring discipline, every inactivity in the school appeared to happen with clock-like precision. The pupils would be seen wandering around the school compound and through the trading center at any time of day. The head teacher seems to spend a lot of her time at the BRC office clarifying directives received by his school, attending meetings called at short notice by the district and in meetings with the local community. In her absence, leadership at the school is lacking.
So I will quickly summarize while you put your thoughts together. So this is a very, the author feels that the school is not like a usual government school with flowers, vegetable beds, very well watered, well cared for. There's a boundary wall also, and which has been contributed by the community. And the community, the head teacher appreciates the support the community is giving and says decisions are reached with consent of community, and school makes sure they play an active role in all the parts of the school and they work as a team. The SMC is a village headman who plays an active role in day-to-day functioning. And the teachers and the head teachers say that they go out to school also, and they want the community to feel like it's their school. It's a primary school. It is reached by. It doesn't have a pakka road. It's a kacha road, and it has only the classrooms are shared. There are 3 teachers, including the head teacher, and maintenance of paint, etc., is not so good. Classes 1 to 3 share one classroom. Classes 4 to 5 share one classroom. So it means that in the one class there are 52 pupils. The 2 assistant teachers take turns to teach this group, and one of the assistant teachers says that luckily as many as 10 to 15 pupils are absent on any one day, so that it helps to keep everything organized. So in such a large group, the teachers feel they can only do chalk and talk, and there are not even sufficient textbooks for the classroom. She tried group work once after a workshop, but there was so much noise that the head teacher told her to just keep the students quiet. So there is follow up with the community to discuss irregularity, but attendance and enrollment is a problem. So the teachers feel that parents are very casual and it is not in their list of priorities. And for very small reasons, they will take children out of school for some purpose or the other. Head teacher sends them information through the letters also, but she feels that she can't do much. And this becomes a problem because after an absence, when children come back, then they cannot keep up to class level. And the community also said, a parent once said that children are not listening and he wanted his children to be disciplined and punished. And parents expect uh, teachers to use a stick. There is one teacher who does not use the stick in the classes, one of the older teachers. Now his classes are noisier than the others, but the point is that the pupils do well in examinations. The head teacher is very well respected and she's very up to date with records and everything. But she feels that there is no one from the SMC to help her. She was keen to get some support from inspectors and others, but whenever the inspectors came in the last 3 visits, they could not find her there. Only one teacher was present. And children are all over the campus. They seem to be maintaining discipline, etc. But at the same time, some students are seen in the trading center, the bazaars, also at any time of day. The head teacher spends a lot of time at the BRC trying to understand the directives received by the school, attending meetings, etc. And when she's not there, leadership in the school is totally lacking. So this is about the thing. Over to you, Joy. I'll share the table now. You'd like the table, Joy?
Yeah. So we have read the second case study. So in this case study is a little different from the previous one. So we can also discuss now what are the good things which you have seen in this case study and what are the areas needs improvement. So anybody can say.
About this school is that there is a lot of involvement of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, very
The
right.
teachers as well as the head teacher is taking the help of the community to develop the infrastructure of the school. The bad thing about the head teacher, I noticed that she is always involved in doing her own work and going to BRC and SMC meetings like that. Less involved in the development of the school. Due to the lack of leadership, the students are seen moving out here and there. They can be seen in the trade. They are not involved in the teaching learning process.
Yeah, yeah. So madam just talked about school community partnership and involvement of parent. Anything related to school infrastructure and record keeping? And there is one interesting thing which is good in this school related to safety and security. So anybody can share that? What is that?
Yeah, boundary walls. The school has a boundary wall.
Yeah, yeah, correct. The school have a boundary wall and have a garden, neat garden.
Yeah, and a garden, yes. Well
Yeah,
maintained garden.
yeah. Actually,
And
this
the head teacher
also
is
shows the,
maintaining
yeah,
the head teacher is maintaining the records very well.
yeah.
The
was also
another
thinking,
thing is that this head teacher has a well-maintained office room, but outside the paint, outside of a room, the paint which is the something is some lines are written more, that is gone off. So that should also be taken care of.
Yeah. So, madam also say that ki inside the room that is very good maintained, but he should also take some action from out for the beautification of his school from outside also. Yeah, ma'am, you want to say something?
Some teachers are very strict using canes, and the parents and the community are also supporting those teachers, and those who are not very strict, not they are giving corporal punishment, so the parents give to the that is also not a very favorable point.
Yeah. So leadership is absence of leadership in the school. The teachers are also absent. Correct. Yeah. Any point you want to add? Any one point? So let's discuss this. Now we have Nimrat. Can you show the
yes,
yeah,
the slide. Yes, you want to slide, Joy?
yeah, that consolidated
Right.
one.
Yes.
So now whatever you have shared and what are in this both the case studies, it is very clear in this slide. So school one, school two, what are the good things and what needs to the improvement. And I think there are the key issues which come in the both case study. The good things in school, which is the enrollment part, parents initiative, then regular interaction with teachers, children with disability, that is inclusion part. And we know that in our session first aims of education, inclusion is the very core area, the core values which we are looking into the school. No? And our new education policy is also giving much emphasis on this part. So that is also part of school one in which children of disability are giving care, then assembly, and sitting in a circle. One madam very rightly mentioned that. And apart from the reading, teaching, learning part in both the school, uh, aids used activities, then discussion, discussions, teachers motivate children to participate, they appreciate their work. That is also good part. And there are some areas which needs improvement also. So basically, if you see in both the case here, the role of leader, the role of principal, the role of a school leader is very crucial. In any school there are such kind of challenges will be there, and you are also facing now, because I remember I know while initiating this school, English medium school, तो ये कहाँ होगा, which will be the venue, है ना? Then who will the principal, then how we are going to recruit the team, then what will be the teaching timetable, है ना? Setting of the library, like it's also coming environment. Yesterday I have seen Lata madam, I think I don't remember the name, I think from Durg or Bhilai, they have shared the picture of a library. And it is a beautiful library, and library also played a very important role for a school environment also. You know, children are attracted to read and contribute, and they go into self-learning mode. So that is also an important part. Now, in the present situation, in the present things which we have identified the areas which are goods and which needs improvement, what is the role of a leader? What should the school principal do for that? Any suggestion? One or two points came. I think Manisha madam had shared that. Anything you want to share, or anything, any kind of specific initiative you took during this 1 or 2 month? The same situation I have, but I have done this or that. So it will be great to listen.
Point which is not written in this chart is that in the second school, even if the students were absent, so there was no provision for the remedial teaching. If the students lagged in a particular subject, then they left as it is to the student. So in the first school there was a provision for remedial classes also.
Okay, okay, very right, ma'am. Correct.
So, from what you're saying, ma'am, what I'm taking is that the head has to ensure that there is support for learners to get to the class level, the grade level.
Yes.
Yeah. So, can we go ahead, Nimra?
Yeah, sure.
We
So,
have
yeah.
30
So,
minutes now.
yeah, right. How much time do we have, Joy? We have 12 minutes.
12 minutes, na?
So, if there's anything, yes.
Yes, yes. Regarding the discrepancies in the school, in the second school particularly, I would say, for the last 5 years, I have been a principal. So I find that the principal or the leader should devote his most of the time to the school. If the leader comes in time, if the leader remains at his seat, or if he is just moving out to the classes, to the campus, no, then the teachers will also regularly and punctually with sincerity go to the classes to take. They will teach the contents. They will just interact with the students. So the leader has to remain at school most of the time. So
I think what you said is
yeah.
so important, ma'am. Very, very, very important. But at the same time, the leader is also the link to the larger system of education. So if the it is a responsibility of the leader to also, like in the second case study, go to the BRC, ensure that they've understood what is required, etc., and also to maintain everything else. So what should the leader do in this situation? And in fact, what you said is something that really struck me in the second case study, that in the absence of the head teacher, leadership in the school is lacking. Exactly what you're saying, ma'am, that the leader should be there to ensure that the school functions as desired. So, what is the solution to this?
Function of leadership, if the leader happens, he has to go to the meetings, then he can just depute the senior teacher to look after the academic things in the school.
Right, ma'am. Which would mean that the senior teacher would be like aware of all that needs to be done. So
Yes,
that
at
is
least the academic part, the senior teachers can see. They just have to supervise the things.
right. So that means then, ma'am, you're already talking about the need for distributed leadership. At least where academics is concerned, you feel that the school head must share this responsibility with some other teachers to ensure that there is continuity even in his or her absence. Right,
And
ma'am?
madam, many things, the time that should be arranged in such a way that the school doesn't hamper, the school hours doesn't hamper, like that going to BRC, discussing with them. We can adjust the time in such a way during the lunch period, or during the before the school session, because the school session is very less time. The offices, yes, office hours are 7 hours, the school hours are only 6 hours only.
Right,
Yes.
ma'am. So then that means then that there has to be collaboration from the side of the BRC office also. So when we talk about leadership, the responsibility for the school being distributed across the system, that means it is not only the school head's responsibility to make sure things happen. The BRC has to adjust. The senior teacher has to understand the responsibility and look after the school with all sincerity and commitment, as we had said earlier in the PowerPoint presentation. You agree, ma'am? And anyone else? Anyone else would like to say anything about this? So again, to take from what Madam has said, uh, these areas that we discussed are all important. But if we see how the school has to function very effectively, one, we are saying that distributed leadership is important. The second we are saying is that the responsibility of all the members of the school has to be there, and therefore the culture becomes important. The culture being that first of all, the culture of respecting children, involving children, of being concerned for them, being careful about their hygiene, having a culture in which children are not scared that their midday meal plates will get stolen, having a culture in which we are aware of every member that the Bhojan Mata is not well, therefore she should not be cooking. So all these things, first of all, the culture aspect becomes very important, where every person has ownership of the school processes and is responsible for making sure things happen properly. The second thing that we are talking about is the distributed leadership, where, as we said, the leadership is distributed across, which means that the community is also equally invested in the success of the school as a school leader himself or herself, or the education system. So it becomes important then for the head teacher and for the teachers to create this awareness amongst the community. If the community is coming and saying that if you don't beat our children, they won't learn, please beat the children. That teacher doesn't beat, so it is so noisy. Then it is the responsibility of the school to create this awareness in them and invest them in the learning, make them invested in the learning of their own children. To understand that corporal punishment is not a solution, a quiet classroom is not necessarily an indication of learning happening, and also that they also have a responsibility to support the children to make sure they come to school, etc. At the same time, this culture of empathy that we're talking about, the school also has to understand that there are certain compulsions that parents have, and like Madam rightly pointed out, make adjustments to make sure that the learning of students is not hampered, to kind of make uh, some kind of arrangement to help them keep up to their grade level. There are some things that we would need to reach out to help for. For example, all teachers might not know how to handle children with disabilities. So therefore, sometimes we need to reach out to other people also. So the culture of learning that we were referring to in one of the earlier slides, that culture of learning has to be there in the school, not only within the school where teachers talk to each other and share experiences, but also reach out to others who would help them in taking forward their uh, purposes. So, what we have tried to do through these case studies is to bring alive the 2 or 3 key things that we discussed earlier. I hope we have been successful in that. Joy, anything you would like to add?
Nothing specific. If anybody, there is 5 minutes we have. If anybody wants to add, or you can go ahead with.
I'll wait for 2 minutes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Acha. Yes, sir.
Please proceed, sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah. What I mean to say is that distributed leadership, that is the key to all problems, because the head of the institution or the leader, he makes all the arrangements in such a way that if at all any problem arises, then it is only due to the distributed leadership that problem is solved. And only the principal does not move the institution. It is moved by all, and especially some responsible teachers of the institution.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Thank you very much, sir, for these. Please proceed, sir. We can hear you.
No, it's all right. That's what I mean to say, that only if the principal is there, the school will run, and if the principal is not there, the school won't run. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. That was very, very important, sir. I think you've summarized what we've been trying to say all throughout. So basically, the change that you're about to bring, it has to be a team effort only. So with this, we come to the end of this session. Joy and I will be with you on Monday and Tuesday as well. The other sessions also we will be with you, and we will be using these case studies further. So I will request Joy to share these case studies on the group. There is also a set of videos prepared by TESS India, just 2-3 minute videos, which are very interesting because in just 2 or 3 minutes, they have principals talking about how they're running their school. So the links will be shared on the WhatsApp group, and it will be nice if you all could see them over the weekend. It will take just hardly 15-20 minutes for you to see them, but it might help you concretize whatever we've discussed. We hope this session was useful for you, and if there's anything you'd like to add, we are together for 2 more sessions, so we will look forward to any inputs that you may have. And a very happy Teachers' Day to you again. And Joy, over to you.
Yeah, nothing to add, Nimrat, but I am just suggesting if all the teachers, they also make a video of their school as an introduction, introducing their school. So we will share some sample in the video, and already today Brajesh sir had shared. So that will be also very good and motivating for us. So that is the last thing. And thanks a lot for joining, and see you all on Monday. So I will share all the details in that WhatsApp group, the case study. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, one thing I would like to add, the case studies, most of all, I have studied, I have encountered in the trainings. They focused on if case one would focus on all aspects which are very positive, and case two would focus on any school that is all the aspects would be all negative. But the case studies you produced here, I would like very much, because they include both positive and negative aspects, and which is a real thing of any schools, of any context. So the case studies I liked very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That's real life, isn't it? Thank you.
Thank you, Nimrat ma'am. Thank you, sir, for the session, and thank you to all the participants. So now I'm closing the session now, and we will meet again on Monday. Thank you.
Okay. Thank